Okay, on three. 1, 2, 3. Hi, my name is Noma Langam Sally Moses, the founder of the Black Homeschool. And I'm also a life and business coach for married women who juggle marriage, motherhood, and money making. Today I'm here with Shaquita Graham. How are you doing today, Shaquita?
Hi, Noma. I'm so happy to be here. I'm such a big...
So I just want to tell our audience about you. Shaquita is a homeschooling mom. She's also a network engineer, which, funny enough, my husband is too. So Shaquita might be able to tell us a little bit more about that because I certainly can't. She's also the founder of a tech co, and she'll also tell us what a tech co is all about. And she's also been a wife and mom for 12 years now. And I just, before we started, I was telling you that's a great resume, Shaquita. Let's just jump right in. I'm very interested, of course, because I'm also a homeschooling mom, about this platform that you've built called a tech co. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Techco.com came out of my experiences being a network engineer and also writing curriculum for schools. So I decided that it was going to be very important for children and homeschooling families and even schools to have access to a low-cost online platform that would be flexible for them to teach children technology on an in-depth level. It's really about teaching computer science and getting children prepared for some of the accelerated courses in computer science, even on the college level, even on the certification level. So it addresses a lot of that. So it is a techco.com. It's ATTECHCO. And we have courses in computer architecture, mobile application development. We will be dealing with programming as well. But what we try to do is fuse parts of computer science that are usually very segmented. You'll go to school and you'll learn computer networking or computer software engineering or electrical engineering, when they're all really one big picture. And it's an advantage when you can understand all of those things.
Wow, I'm really impressed. I'm already thinking that for my own purposes, I should go visit your site. And, my kids already established their curriculum for this year, but it's always a great time at any point during the school year to add one more thing that they can learn. There's no rules in homeschool against that. Just adding that thing if you find it, and if the kids are receptive to it, you go ahead and you use it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And I make them, shorter lessons. They're fun and engaging. They're rather entertaining. I mean, we use illustrated characters, cartoons. We talk about inventors in the space. Especially, we focus on Black inventors. We use Black images because as I was learning, I've never even had, I think I had one Black teacher when I was learning technology. And sometimes in our community, we're finding a deficit in Black people being in this space because the image of who is a technologist, a lot of times young kids see it as not cool, or they see it as you have to be somebody like a nerd or a Mark Zuckerberg or a mathematical genius. And so I think incorporating our images as Black people and people of the African diaspora in this type of training is important for our children to see, and highlighting those people who have excelled in this area, even children. 7-year-old Zora Ball, who was set a world record for being the first person to create a mobile app. Kids may not know that. That's something that your Black daughter, you might want her to know,
Right. Absolutely. I think most people who've heard me talk and have seen me on different segments already know that I'm a homeschooling mom, and I couldn't have been happier when I met you and found out that you're also a homeschooling mom. So can you tell us a little bit about what led you to decide to homeschool your kids?
Well, first of all, I was afraid. Like I see, I'm a part of a lot of groups on Facebook, so I do talk to a lot of women who are facing the decision, and they're really afraid. And I thought it was impossible because I was working. So I had to shift the paradigm of what I saw as homeschool. Does that mean that, I have to get a chalkboard and I have to stand by my child? And I mean, I work full time. My husband has a flexible schedule, so someone is always with the kids as a coach. However, I use a lot of technology to help them get schooled, and focus on things like the Common Core curriculum, what they're supposed to learn on each grade level, and to grade them. So, but what got me into it is that I just really felt like there could be no better teacher for my children than me. There was nobody more invested in my child having a good education than me. And, we basically just had problems in the school system. I just did not feel that it was suitable for my child, as I have 2 Black sons, of course, and I just didn't feel that the school system was positioned and focused on training my children appropriately. So I wanted to take on that task myself.
And of course, you having been the founder and creator of Artecco, was obviously a little more optimistic than the rest of us, in the sense that education can happen, in the sense that it doesn't have to be a teacher standing at the front of the classroom with a chalkboard, like you said, and telling the kids what to do. It can actually happen independently, which, and it doesn't have to either. This is my 3rd year actually homeschooling, and one of the things that I can share is each year has looked very different based on what we've learned and what works. The first year I was really, really insecure, but again, my back was against the wall, and I felt like nobody can do, if I feel like I can't do it, why would I impose it on somebody else? So I have to take up this challenge, and I have to do it. And I took a lot of time to educate myself, and to research all the things that I could do. But what I ended up with was I bought a boxed system, and I really did follow kind of school, like, math in the morning, then lunch and recess and all this other stuff. But it was actually a good transition period that first year, because it felt a little more comfortable for me, because it was a little more rigid. So I had something to follow. And then also my kids had something to follow. And as time has gone by, I felt more comfortable actually creating our own curriculum, exploring online systems that can supplement what we're doing, and sometimes throwing stuff out if it's not necessary, and feeling like the kids are not missing out on anything, because the truth is they're not. And if they need it, and if they need it, they can always pick it back up, because the homeschool, even though we have grade levels, my son is on different grades. Some of his subjects, he's a first grader technically. Some of his subjects he's still back in kindergarten, and then in some other subjects he's a second grader, and then in others he's a first grader. So he has that fluidity based on where his skills are, and the same applies to my daughter. I don't know what's grade level she's reading at, but it's not 4th grade. It's way above that, and she's in the 4th grade. So it does give you that freedom to do a little more, and I can't stress enough how important it is for us to share our stories and to encourage other mothers and fathers, to encourage other parents to, at least dip their toes in there and start supplementing. Yeah. And then see what happens. And as time goes, you may decide to make that big leap. And then I also wanted to mention one other thing that I always say whenever I talk about homeschooling is the honest truth is, even if you take your kids out and you feel like, oh my God, I can't do this, there's no rule that says you can't put them back in school when you find a school that's good, or that meets your expectations, or that has a good reputation, or whatever it is. So it's a big world out there, and you're free to explore it. But I wanted to get back to you, Shaquita, and talk a little bit about you. So you're a homeschooling mom. How long have you been homeschooling?
Well, this is our first year. So we started in August with everybody else. So it's only been a few months, and I think it's probably the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. As although it was a source of great stress coming to the decision, my husband and I, we really had to talk about it. But I'm thankful for things like, the Successful Black Woman or the Black Homeschool and different groups that can give you the information and support you need. Because sometimes you're making a decision out of just a vision that you have of how it's going to go wrong, instead of hearing from people who have done it and using some of their resources, getting some of their guidance. And that's the thing that really helped me, having a resource like that, a group of Black homeschooling moms, understanding what curriculum is out there, learning from what they try, how they failed, how they re-engineer the scenario. So that's been a big plus.
So it's been a good experience. I think we would be remiss if we didn't say that it's also tough. It's a challenge. It's certainly not easy. I don't try to put up any pretenses about the homeschool experience. Just like you, I feel like it's the best decision that I ever made. And I don't want to take full credit because, I made the decision along with my husband. It's the best decision we've ever made.
Right.
But I also do want to also stress that it's not a cakewalk, in the last 3.5 years, which is how long we've been in this homeschool environment. There have been a lot of challenges. There are days where the kids just don't want to do their work. There are days where you don't have the energy because you're sick or you're whatever, but they rely on you entirely. I'm a businesswoman, you're a businesswoman. Sometimes the business is pulling you one way, the kids are pulling you another way. But the truth is you can't neglect either one. You don't attend to your business, you don't eat. And if you don't attend to your kids' education, then how much better are you than that public school system that we're saying is inadequate? So there are challenges, certainly. We're just normal people like everybody else with those ups and downs. And you're nodding along, so I know
Yeah.
You have the same experience. We obviously got together. This is our first time recording together, and I wanted everybody to get to know you and be able to look forward to us meeting every week and recording segments about, the things that we're experiencing and seeing in the homeschool environment, and to be a constant encouragement, a source of information, a source of resources especially for those parents who, or even those, just the mom or just the dad, who are really thinking about doing this and they're really invested in their kids' education, but they don't know where to look for information, resource, guidance, or sometimes just encouragement to say, we're here, we're doing it too, and to keep reminding each other why we're doing it. And of course, it's for the best in terms of what our kids will get out of it. I'll let you just kind of reiterate again where people can find you online and how we can start to learn about using online technology to educate our kids, especially using the resource that you developed, which is a TechCo.
Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah. When you go to atechco.com, number one, you can take a parent's introduction course that's free. So that'll allow you to log into our virtual learning environment and learn more about ATECHCO. So it's ATTECHCO.com. And, we're growing, so we're going to be adding a lot more resources. So I hope you stay engaged and definitely get on the email list. I can't I can't say that enough, because a lot of times if Facebook is down or YouTube or whatever, we want to be able to keep in contact with you. So get on the email list, and you and your kids are in for a learning adventure.
Oh, that sounds great. I'll definitely be jumping in and feeling my way around on your platform to see what I can learn and what my kids can learn. I also wanted to mention that I am working currently I guess I could call it a program, but I call myself the Homeschool Guide.
Yeah.
And this is something that's going to be offered through the Black Business School. It should be out in the next week or two. And what it is basically a series of lectures or just me talking to parents and giving them information and resources, sharing my story, sharing the challenges, how to overcome them, answering questions, and it's an ongoing conversation. Again, this is going to be offered at the Black Homeschool, the Black Business School, but the topic is going to be the Homeschool Guide. And I'll be the one doing it, and I know that as we go along, we're going to do some segments together, Shakita and I. And again, I'm not a techie, never have been, but as a mom, I want my kids to be in that world because I know that is the way of the future. And I'm happy to have somebody who is in that world and is, well-versed in how it works. So she's going to be a great resource in terms of what we should be doing. Again, and I'm a living example of the fact that you don't have to be an expert to expose your kids to what they need to learn to function in this day and age. You can use resources and platforms that are built by other people like Shaquita, and you can have people like Shaquita who will give us the information and the resources so that we know what to do for our children. Shaquita, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I just have one more thing.
Yeah, I just want to say I wish I had a guide like what you're creating at the Black Business School. Now that is something that can really get you off the fence. So I applaud you for putting something like that together, and Dr. Boyce as well, having that on the Black Business School.
Thank you. One of the reasons actually why I created that guide was because when I was starting, it just wasn't there. Now, mind you, I did find a lot of information and resources out there, but they were not specifically tailored to a Black family. A lot of the curriculums were Christian-centered, which I'm okay with, but I wanted something that a Black mom or a Black dad could actually relate to, and I wanted us to know that when we pick curriculum, much like what you're saying with the TechCo, the examples that you're using are people that look like us. And when your kids come in there, the other examples of little kids are people that look like them. And I think or maybe not as well, you live in Georgia, but in my experience, it's quite possible for your kid to grow up and hardly see anybody that looks like them, whether it's their teachers, the administration, or other kids. So it's very important in terms of the history that they learn, and it's also very important in terms of the curriculum that they use, that they see people who look like them, and also care about them. So I can't stress it enough how important it is that we're doing this. And I just want to say thank you to you again, Shaquita, for joining me. And I just want to let everybody know that this is an ongoing conversation. We're not just recording today. We're going to be getting together regularly and just sharing information, resources, and talking about things that are happening currently and what our thoughts are on those things. So thank you, Shaquita, again, for joining me today.
Thank you, Noma. It was a pleasure.
Oh, you're welcome. And again, everybody, my name is Noma Langam Sally Moses. I am of the Black Homeschool as well as a couple of other blogs, but for today's purposes, the Black Homeschool is what I'd like you to visit. You can find the Black Homeschool at theblackhomeschool.com, and the Black Homeschool also has a Facebook page, which if you go to Facebook and just look for the Black Homeschool, you'll find the page. Thank you for joining us today.